My name's, oh, did it just start?
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to 6 p.m. Kickboxing. My name's Alexa, if you haven't been here before, and if you have, then welcome back. Starting a quick drink before we start. Let's start off just like we always do with a nice wide stance. Our toes, our knees, our hips are pointed forward. Our knees are nice and soft. We've got our hips tucked so that they're directly under our shoulders, which are directly under our ears. And let's start with some shoulder rolls. And now is where we want to start thinking about that rhythmic breathing. We're breathing up in through the nose, filling our lungs down into the diaphragm, exhaling through the mouth. Little pause in mountain pose here with our palms facing out. It should be beside your legs, not like out here, but back here, because we want to feel that nice open chest. We have a nice big space between our ears and our shoulders, and let's further that feeling with some reach and pulls. Here's a really good time to start thinking about exhaling with every strike. I know we're not technically striking right now, but this is what our back elbow, kind of what our back elbow looks like, without the sinking and the intention at least. So it's a good place to practice those exhales. And nice tight fists. We want to go from open hands to squeezing into a really tight fist. The tighter your fist is, the more protected your hand is when you're striking. If you have loose fists, that's a really good way to bust your hands up. It's happened to all of us. Some helicopters. Focusing on that pivot. So we're pivoting on the balls of our feet. I've sometimes seen people pivoting on their heels. Don't do that. It's a good way to lock out your knees. Good way to mess up your knees. Pivoting on the ball of the foot, the heel comes up just slightly and turns out. This is the same way our heel turns out for our hooks and our roundhouse elbows. Let's do some arm circles back. Starting to feel our lats and our shoulders, and all of our back muscles, where our punches get a lot of their power. Forward a couple times, letting this movement come from your shoulders. Let's do some pulsing side stretches. So inhaling up, exhaling over. Inhaling up, exhaling over. I don't like to sink into any stretches before I start doing a workout. One more time each side. Inhaling up, exhaling over. And that is because your muscles can kind of relax too much, and it can be harder to actually engage them in whatever it is you're trying to do. So we stick with that with dynamic movements at the beginning. You don't have to, but that's what I like to do. Okay, let's do some chambering, opening up to the outside. So 3 to 5 opening, 3 to 5 closing. If you like, you can practice your balance here. Things to think about: nice soft knee in that standing leg. I can bend it like this. It's not locked out. My abs are engaged. My foot and my ankle are engaged. And I'm breathing. That's really, really important. People often hold their breath when they're trying to focus on their balance, which is counterintuitive. You really, really want to be mindfully breathing. Other side when you're done. If you're losing your balance, kind of try to find it again in that nice soft knee. And again, abs are engaged. You can use your guard to help you. When you're done with this, let's do kicks for stretch. 5 to the front, 5 to the side, 5 to the back. Always moving just our face, turning to look over that shoulder. So nobody told me if the angles from last time were good, so I'm going to stick with them for now because I think It's gonna be easier to see. I know some of my friends are watching this too, looking at you. So looking just over that shoulder and kicking up. This is not a kick we do in kickboxing, but it can be a kick to the groin usually. Other side, making sure to stay nice and tall. You can swing all the way through if you want to practice your balance here. I like to focus on the stretch because I get really tight legs. Make sure you're not turning your shoulder into that kick. Kind of changes the stretch, changes the kick as well. All right, let's start off. Grab a quick drink if you need it. We're gonna do just a real quick 10, 10, and 10. So we're gonna do 10 push-ups, 10 abs, and 10 hip thrusts, because that's what I wrote down. So for push-ups, any push-up you like, I'm gonna be doing regulars and brave eagles because that's what's good for my wrists. Then we're gonna go into some crunch and punch for the next 10. So crunching up all the way, 1, 2, right, left. Next time, left, right. So switch hands each time, like you're hitting somebody in the nose right in front of you. The last one is gonna be our hip thrust. You can do just normal, or if you like, you can do one leg up. I like to kind of pull my toes up and press through my heel. So just real quick, starting off with push-ups. I'll turn to the side here, I guess. From your feet or from your knees. 10, 10, and 10. At your own pace. I'm a little faster at brave eagles. Going over for those crunch and punches. Again, try not to shoot your arms forward. You kind of want to just keep them in place until you get to the top. So this one's 5 on each side. That's 10 altogether. If that wasn't clear. A little turn into it. Oops, set my timer wrong. And we got hip thrusts. You can put your hands out if you need a little bit of stability. And if you ever need to adjust for anything, just do. Got about 30 more seconds here. I constantly adjust in the middle of what I'm doing. Maybe not constantly, but as much as I need to. Make sure you're not looking at your belly button when you're doing push-ups. That's not good for your neck or for your form in general. Just a couple more seconds here. Getting that little turn through the torso. 10 seconds. All right, wherever you're at, let's jump back up. Today we're thinking about distancing. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and so I thought we'd play a little bit with some distancing in our striking and our movement as well. So let's start off practicing some kicks off the front. This is a really good way to put distance between you and your opponent. So we're going to chamber up just like we normally do. Kick off the front. This is a ball kick, and we're going to land right back down. Let's switch. Chamber up, kick, chamber, and land. Switch. Chamber up, kick, chamber, and land. Take a little pause on each of your chambers. Just make sure your balance is there. Switch 3 times if you want to challenge, if your downstairs neighbors can tolerate it, if you have them. Let's speed it up a little bit. Now full speed kicks. I'll switch to the side. Don't forget your chamber here. A lot of times we want to just kick like right off the front here, keeping it where it is. We still want to bring our knees kind of together and press out. So if you imagine somebody's coming up to you, you're just putting distance between you and them. Let's make this a double rising kick. If you want the challenge, if you're still working on the basics of a front ball kick, feel free to just do the kick, just the one kick. Otherwise, make it double rising. If you want to start working towards that double rising, it's 1, hold it, 2. That's the best way, in my opinion, what worked for me to get up that balance and that core strength to do the 1, 2. Otherwise, full speed. Switching every time. Try to remember nice tight fists. I know those of us in Shaolin sometimes let our hands go open. All right, we're gonna practice a little bit of a roundhouse kick off the front as well because it's a little trickier. So on this one, normally we pivot off the front. This time we're gonna pivot off the back and just whoop. See how I turn my whole hip to face you guys. And I point my guard there as well. So switching every time, roundhouse kick off the front. Feel free to pre-pivot if you need to. So that means pivoting before you get up to throw your kick. Otherwise, you can kind of do it all in one motion if you want that, that challenge. And I'll turn to the side for you. This does not have to be a high kick. Remember, a kick to the knee is devastating. A kick to the knee, a kick to the thigh, doesn't feel good. All right, let's change it up just a little bit more. And let's make it, if you want, you can keep practicing the double rising front ball. Otherwise, we're gonna do front ball roundhouse for a big challenge. So, still off the front, land it forward. 1, 2, land it forward. So the key here is after you're up in the air, we're pivoting over in the air. So we have our chamber up here. We've just kicked. Now we're going to pivot and turn our hip over and kick with that pointed toe. That's the other challenge here. We're pulling our toes back for the first one and pointing them for the second one because we're hitting different targets. Let's just do a couple more of these. Really get our core warmed up. I'm aiming for like the knee and then the ribs. 2 more each side. Touching down if you need to as well. Okay, let's do a little bit of lunging for movement. So remember, we're pressing off the back foot, kind of lifting the front foot, sort of stepping into it. You can do as big or as little as you have space for. Switch between lunge in, lunge back. So this time we're pressing off the front foot, landing into it, switch. Lunge in, lunge out, switch. This should feel like work. You shouldn't feel like you're standing and just kind of dancing around. You should feel yourself sunk into your stance. So my recommendation is that if you're not feeling it in your legs or your glutes, your feet, your ankles, go a little bit lower. Exaggerate the movement. Lunge, lunge, switch. Lunge, lunge, switch. Just a couple more. Notice my guard matches my front leg. So I switch my guard when I switch legs. 1 more on each side. All right, let's take that lunge and let's make it really tricky. I don't know why I'm feeling like challenging today, but we're gonna do a little challenge. We're gonna do a little lunge back. We're gonna chamber up with that front foot. So again, we're pressing off the front, putting all of our weight on the back. We're gonna kick off the front and let's do kick off the front. Let's do jab, cross, hook. And really make that a power punch, that hook. So you should be turned over when you finish. And switch. So lunging back, kick, jab, cross, hook. Let's actually add a little lunge back so that we're in our starting place. I'll turn to the side for you guys. Lunge back, kick, jab, cross, hook, and lunge forward just to return. And switch sides. Lunge back, kick off the front, jab, cross, hook. Remember, jab comes off the front, cross comes off the back. So your hook should come off the front. Switch 3 times. Just a couple more. One more each side. I think I just kicked a piece of my shoe off. All right. Let's grab a little quick drink, and then we're gonna do a little bit of body weight stuff.
Curtis is watching.
Who is watching?
Curtis.
Hey, Curtis! All right, when you guys are ready, join me on the ground for some leg lifts. Hands under your seat. This is to keep your lower back pressed into the ground. I like to flex my feet here. I feel like it engages my lower abs better, but you're free to do what you want. You can also have your head on the ground for this. I like the challenge of pulling my shoulder blades up off the ground, making sure I'm not crunching my neck, and making sure I'm not just using momentum to fly through this. Slow and controlled. Yeah, I really feel like the more I flex my feet, the more I feel those lower abs. But do what works for you. Let's do 3 more here. Bringing that up to a 45, down to a few inches off the ground. 45-ish. One more. Let's do some of these flutter kicks. So crossing over, all the way up, and back down. All the way up, and all the way down. Couple more. Keeping those hands under our seat, and adjusting if you need to keep that lower back on the ground. And pausing up here, we're gonna take our hands, put them behind our head, feet in a V, and drop down to a 45. Let's do 10 here. Above the hips, to a 45. One more. All right, let's jump back up. Now, the other way that we can think about distance is closing the distance, right? We want to chase this person down, right? Put a little distance between us with the kick off the front, just like we've been doing. You should really feel your lower abs now when you do that kick off the front, right through here. And then let's do a shuffling knee. We're gonna bring that back foot in, grab our opponent by the hair, ears, face, shoulder, or hair, ears, shoulders, shirt. Bring our knee up into their face, and let's do a roundhouse elbow, just to practice that follow through. And let's move it back and switch. So kick off the front, shuffling knee, roundhouse elbow, roundhouse elbow. We're hitting with that nice sharp part, almost like we're punching over our own shoulder, but moving our hips with it. And then we'll lunge back and switch. Kick off the front, shuffling knee. Hopefully I'm still in frame. Elbow, elbow. I'll do some to this side. Kick off the front, shuffling knee, elbow, elbow. Really turning into it. So we're doing forward, forward, and then around, because we're really close. We're putting distance between them. We're following through with that knee, chasing them down, and then elbow, elbow to finish. Kick off the front, shuffling knee, elbow, elbow. Hopefully my cameraman is making sure I'm still in frame. Kick off the front, shuffling knee. Am I still in frame over here? All right. Let's do 2 more on each side. Kick off the front, shuffling knee. Make sure you're not shuffling on that first kick because we don't want to get too close to that. If you find that your opponent is really, really close, you're going to have to bring your knee up even higher. The closer they are, the higher that knee has to get up to extend. One more time each side. Forgot my own combo for a second. Round, round. And one more. Shuffling knee. Round, round. Okay, let's do some squat back kicks, because this is also a good way to put distance between you and someone behind you. So, nice wide squat stance. We don't want to be here and trying to do this with our knees coming over our toes unless you're like a squat master. Chamber up, back kick. I'm doing these kicks not at full speed because I really like to feel the full extension at the top of the movement. So chambering, extending, squeezing that glute, chambering, and coming back. Just go as low as you can on these squats. A lower squat isn't necessarily better for everybody's body type. Some people are just not very well practiced with squats, or their proportions just aren't made for a super deep squat in that way. There are other modifications that you can make to make it work for you. Let's do one more each side. All right, grab a quick drink. All right, let's do maybe one more combination, I think. And we're gonna keep playing with this front kick. We're gonna do, well, we're also gonna play with the back kick a little bit. So let's do a back kick off the front. So that's gonna look like that. If we were to set it down here, we'd be switching legs. So chamber up, back kick, front kick, land it forward. Let's do a tiny lunge, or as big of a lunge as you have room for. And let's do jab, cross, uppercut to the chin, okay? Jab, cross, uppercut. And move it back. We'll do a shuffle. Why not? You can stick with the lunges if you really want to practice those. Otherwise, I'll just shuffle back. So again, that's off the front, back kick, front kick, land it in, move in with a tiny lunge, and we've got jab, cross, uppercut. So feel free to take it in pieces. There's kind of a lot going on here. We're switching every time, so make sure you're switching. Off the back, or sorry, off the front, back kick, front kick, lunge, and hands, jab, cross, uppercut. Feel free to add on strikes if you like, a challenge. Back kick, touchdown in the middle if you need to, front ball kick. Yeah, it's never a good idea to throw a front kick if you're like, whoa, and then need to kind of recover your balance in between. That kind of defeats the purpose. So touchdown if you need to. And switch. Jab, cross, uppercut, switch. Back kick, landing in, little lunge, jab, cross. Forgot my own combination, guys. Off the back, lunging in, jab, cross, uppercut, switch. Back, front, lunge, jab, cross, uppercut. Really using those hips to scoop on that uppercut. Let's do this 2 more times on each side. So again, if my right leg is forward, that's the one kicking, both kicks. Lunge in, cross. Gosh, I keep wanting to do a hook. If you want to do a hook, go for it. I'm not here to tell you what. Or I'm not there anyway. There we go. Remembering my own combination. Almost do my front kick first. So by moving, we're getting nice and close and covering that ground, getting close enough to hit our opponent. We've moved them away from us and now we're chasing them down. I think that was one more on each side. Let's finish off with some knees for a minute, 30 seconds each side, because knees are a really, really great way to keep someone away from you. Because nobody wants to be kneed in the face or the chest or the groin. Grabbing your opponent, kicking off the right leg. 30 seconds. I'm gonna turn to the side here. Make sure that you're not doing this. We don't wanna see that. You don't wanna see that. You don't wanna see your own knee come in your own face. You can think about really pulling their face or their body down on your knee. Or you could imagine that you're really close, you got them by the shoulders, and the knee is going up into the groin. And switch. You don't have to turn to the side like I'm doing. I'm just doing that to see if it's easier for you guys to see. And if you're watching this, feel free to give me feedback. Let me know what angles are easiest to see what I'm actually doing. Keep breathing. You've got 10 seconds on this one. Keep a nice soft knee on that standing leg. All right. Let's take a step back. And let's do some huggers. I like doing these at the end to stay nice and tall so that we have plenty of room for our lungs to fill with air. If you're sitting, or a lot of people want to do this after a workout, not a good idea. It's going to be harder to catch your breath that way. Rhythmic breathing, just like we did at the beginning. Soft knees, always, always. So it's just a little tiny, tiny taste of distancing. The basics are, if you're doing elbows and knees, you want to be right on top of your opponent pretty much. And if you've got room for kicking and punching, you need a little bit more space, probably. You can't really complete a punch if somebody's this close to you. Let's go down, actually, and do a butterfly stretch. And I wanted to do this because I always see people doing this, pulling on their toes. Don't do that. Pull on your ankles or push from behind. We never want to pull on our toes because you're jacking up your ankle and your knee doing that. So just make sure you're not pulling on your toes. If you need to pull in, pull from the ankles. I like to push from the back because I feel like I can just get closer and not have to use my abs to sit upright. So being a little lazy, but I can get a deeper stretch that way. So if you're not focused on multiple things at a time, one leg out, then you're not having to kind of compromise your stretch for the purpose of other things, which is, it's valid, you can do that. But if you're really just going for that stretch, no need to overcomplicate it. If you can't reach your toes here, hold on to your ankle, your calf, doesn't matter. Just as much as you can go to get a stretch. Other side. Still thinking about that rhythmic breathing. The more you do it, the less you're gonna have to think about it. So striking, exhaling with every strike, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's do a straddle stretch. This is one where I really like to push from behind because I really like to focus on the leg stretch itself. But you can absolutely come forward and do some of this. I find it's a little hard for me to keep my back nice and straight when I do this. So that's something I really have to focus on. So if you don't want to, just push from behind. From here, let's do a pigeon stretch. Things to think about here are keeping a flexed foot. Anytime your leg is in this position, you kind of want your foot flexed to, again, protect your ankle and your knee. Knees are really, really easily tweaked. And it can be an injury that lasts a long time. So you always want to try to avoid that if we can. If you want a deeper stretch, try to get your calf parallel to your hips. Other side. Flexing that foot. So pulling those toes back towards the knee. If you really hate this stretch, you can do what we call a sleeping pigeon. Again, foot flexed, comes over the knee, and then we pull that knee towards our body. So whatever you need to do to get that stretch. Real quick, let's do one arm across. In our nice neutral stance. Engaging that shoulder, engaging that arm, pushing the shoulder away from the face. Other side. All right, let's do one big deep breath as a virtual class. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Keeping that knee soft, let's shake out our arms. Shake out our shoulders. And shake our head no in a nice big movement, saying no to all the bad energy. And let's nod our head yes in a nice big movement to good energy, good people, good vibes. And let's tuck our tail, breathing in and in, coming up one vertebrae at a time, reaching for that full body stretch, and release. Awesome work today, you guys. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what worked for you, what didn't. And we'll see you guys same time Monday next week. Have a great weekend.